Every citizen on a committee was expected to perform some part. The chairmanship of committees was often taken in rotation. The pretensions of leaders were watched. Proceedings were based on the deliberate belief that every man was capable of reason and of a growth in his abilities, and that deference and distinctions of status were an offense to human dignity. These Jacobin strengths, which contributed much to Chartism, declined in the movement of the late 19th century when the new socialism shifted emphasis from political to economic rights. The strength of distinctions of class and status in 20th century England is in part a consequence of the lack in the 20th century labor movement of Jacobin virtues. It is unnecessary to stress the evident importance of other aspects of the Jacobin tradition, the tradition of self-education and of the rational criticism of political and religious institutions, the tradition of conscious republicanism, above all, the tradition of internationalism. It is extraordinary that so brief an agitation should have diffused its ideas into so many corners of Britain. Perhaps the consequence of English Jacobinism, which was most profound, although least easy to define, was the breaking down of taboos upon agitation among members unlimited. Wherever Jacobin ideas persisted, and wherever hidden copies of Rights of Man were cherished, men were no longer disposed to wait upon the example of a Wilkes or a Wyville before they commenced a democratic agitation. Throughout the war years, there were Thomas Hardys in every town and in many villages throughout England, with a kist or shell full of radical books, biding their time, putting in a word at the tavern, the chapel, the smithy, the shoemaker's shop, waiting for the movement to revive. And the movement for which they waited did not belong to gentlemen, manufacturers, or ratepayers. It was their own. As late as 1849, a shrewd Yorkshire satirist published a sketch of such a village politician, which has the feel of authenticity. He is typically a cobbler, an old man, and the sage of his industrial village. He has a library that he rather prides himself upon. It is a strange collection. There is the Pearl of Great Price and Cobbett's Twopenny Trash, the Pilgrim's Progress and the Go Ahead Journal, the Wrongs of Labor and the Rights of Man, the History of the French Revolution and Bunyan's Holy War, the Age of Reason, and an superannuated Bible. He is, of course, a great admirer of Bonaparte. It warms his old heart like a quart of mulled ale when he hears of a successful revolution, a throne tumbled, kings flying, and princes scattered abroad. He thinks the dreams of his youth are about their fulfillment. He indulges in grandiloquent metaphors about the sun of freedom rising above the horizontal atmosphere and professes knowledge of Russian affairs. He recollects the day when he durst scarcely walk the streets. He can tell how he was hooted, pelted, and spurned, and people told him he might be thankful if he was not burned alive some night, along with an effigy of Thomas Paine. He makes youngers stare when he tells them about a time when there was no habeas corpus and the Attorney General went up and down the country like a raging lion. He tells of a man who said that the king was born without shirt and was in consequence transported for sedition. The revolution of which he had dreamed never took place, but there was a revolution of a sort, nonetheless. It was the Loyalists, James Watt, the younger, complained in 1793, who, by stirring up the mob against reformers, had tampered with the lower order of people. They little think how dangerous it is to let the people know their power, and that the day will come when they shall curse the senseless cry of church and king, and feel their own weapons turned upon themselves.